7th, 2020, and it's Thursday, and we're having this conference via teleconference. As chairman of the Budget Review Committee, I find that due to the state of emergency declared by the governor as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, and in accordance with the governor's emergency order number 12, pursuant to Executive Order 2020-04, this public body is authorized to meet electronically. Please note that there is no physical location to observe and listen contemporaneously to this meeting, which was authorized pursuant to the governor's emergency order. However, in accordance with the emergency order, I'm confirming that we are A, providing public access to the meeting by telephone with additional access possibilities by video or other electronic means. We are utilizing WebEx through the city's IT department for this electronic meeting. All members of the Budget Review Committee have the ability to communicate contemporaneously during this meeting through this platform. And the public has access to contemporaneously listen to this meeting through dialing the following number: 1-978-990-5298 and using the password 273974. The public may also view this meeting on Comcast Channel 16. B, providing public notice of the necessary information for accessing this meeting. We previously gave notice to the public of the necessary information for accessing this meeting through public postings. Instructions have been provided on the City of Nashua's website at www.nashuanh.gov and publicly noticed at City Hall. C, providing a mechanism for the public to alert the public body during the meeting if there are problems with access. If anyone has a problem accessing the meeting via phone or channel 16, please call 603-821-2049 and they will help you connect. And D, adjourning the meeting if the public is unable to access the meeting. In the event the public is unable to access the meeting via the methods mentioned above, the meeting will be adjourned and rescheduled. Please note that all votes that are taken during this meeting shall be done by roll call. Let's start the meeting by taking a roll call attendance. When each member states their presence, please also state whether there is anyone in the room with you during this meeting. This is required under the right to know law. Alden O'Brien, would you please call the roll?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Alderman at Large, Shoshana Kelly.
I am here. I am alone, except for the little less Kelly coming in every once in a while. And I am practicing social distancing, and I can hear everybody. Distancing.
Alderman at Large, Michael O'Brien is present. I can hear the proceedings, and I am alone. Alderman at Large, Laurie Wilshire.
I am here. I'm here staying home because of the governor's orders. I'm alone and I can hear everyone.
Alderman Jette.
I'm here. I can hear you. And I'm at home because of the governor's order to stay at home.
Alderman Schmidt.
I am here. I can hear you. I am alone except for a little tweeter. And I'm here because of the governor's guidelines.
Alderman at Large, Ben Clements.
I am here. I am participating via telephone due to the governor's order. There's no one in the room with me, and I can hear everyone.
And our chairman, Alderman at Large, Alderman Dowd.
Thanks for the promotion. Yes, I am here. I can hear everyone, and I am practicing social distancing in accordance with the governor's rule, and we're ready to go.
All right, Mr. Chairman, also in attendance is Alderman Harriet Gathright and Alderman Clee. Is there any other alderman that I have not recognized? Okay. Also, Mr. Chairman, in attendance is the Mayor, Jim Donchess, and Lisa's photo of the Public Works Director. Mr. Chairman, you have 7 voting members present of the Budget Committee.
We have a quorum. Thank you. So, communications.
There is none.
Unfinished business.
There is none.
New business resolutions.
There is none.
New business ordinances.
There is none.
Okay, we have two items that are tabled in the committee that we won't be bringing up. That's R 20016 and R 20028. We have one other item that's on the table. Alderman O'Brien.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make the motion to remove from the table R 20-023 relative to the adoption of the fiscal year 2021 proposed budget for the City of Nashua General Enterprise and Special Revenue Funds. A public hearing will be scheduled on May 20th, 2020 at 7 p.m. via WebEx. And Mr. Chairman, I request a roll call.
Would you call the roll, please?
Alderwoman at Large Shoshana Kelly.
Did you hear me?
No, I'm sorry, I did not.
Earlier, we were having trouble with the mute buttons. I said yes.
Okay, thank you. Alderman at Large Michael O'Brien votes yea. Alderman at Large Laurie Wilshire.
Yes.
Alderman Jette.
Yes.
Alderman Schmidt.
Yes.
Alderman at Large Ben Clemens.
Yes.
Alderman Richard Dowd.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, 7 yeas, 0 nays.
So the motion carried and R 2023 is now before us. Tonight, we're going to be addressing the Public Works Division, which is Department 160, 161, 177. Public Works and Engineering is appropriations on page 175. The State Department is on page 180. And the Parks and Recreation is page 185. Also, we will be discussing, we discussed it already at revenue, but if there are any questions that the director can answer on enterprise and solid waste, we will take a look at that as well. Okay. Director Fauteux.
Well,
Mayor-
Mr. Chair, I was just going to introduce her.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
Nothing very elaborate. You've already indicated what portions of the budget you are going to be reviewing tonight. So Director Fauteux, is going to present the budgets for those departments. These have been reviewed by and approved by the Board of Public Works, and Director Fauteux will be making the presentation to you regarding the details, and we are all here available to answer questions. So with that, I will turn it over to Director Fauteux.
Thank you,
Director
Mayor.
Fauteux.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Chairman Dowd, and members of the Budget Committee. With me this evening is Carolyn O'Connor, our Finance and Administration Manager for the division. We are here to present the budgets for the DPW departments, including administration, engineering, streets, and parking and recreation, and as Alderman Dowd mentioned, to answer any questions on solid waste and wastewater. We were given the guideline of a 2.5% increase by the mayor. All of our departments have been able to adhere to that guideline with the exception of solid waste due to both debt and permit requirements. The total Public Works budget before you tonight is $42,904,157. 20.2 million or 47% of that is wastewater. 9.9 million or 23% is solid waste. 7.6 million and 18% is streets. 3.5 million and 8% is parks and recreation. And 1.7 million or 4% is administration and engineering. As the mayor mentioned, the Board of Public Works unanimously support this budget. And as you requested, Chairman Dowd, I'll only present the increases and decreases and changes on our budget. Is that correct?
And that's what we did last year. Yes,
Okay.
unless people have questions on something else, but
Unless,
sure.
yeah, okay. So I won't go over every line. I'll just the increases and decreases.
Right.
And feel free to ask any questions. And if it's okay, I will start with, as in the budget book, administration and engineering,
Yes.
and also on the agenda. Okay. So the first line, and I am starting on page 175. The very first line in that budget, 51,100, 51,300, second line, overtime. We've added $11,700, and that is primarily for the paving program because we need additional oversight. The next line, same page that has changes, is 53107, and that's architect and engineering services. That is actually a new item, and that is for contracted services as needed. We find from time to time we need a structural engineer, as we did when we had the fire on the Broad Street Parkway and things of that nature. So we've added that for those type of services. The next same page, next decrease is in electricity, and that is 58,732. And I know that seems like a lot, but that is because we took the Burke Street utilities out of our budget. So that's why that's such a big decrease. Same thing with heating, gas. There's a decrease of $6,000 again, because of Burke Street is now out of this budget. Water, we have a very small decrease of 500. That's based on historical and purchasing guidelines. The next line where there's a change, same page, is 55118, cellular telephone. That is for data plans for iPads. We're trying to do a lot more work out in the field and trying to capture things directly into GIS. So we've added iPads to the department, and we think that's going to be a huge asset. Dues and memberships, the next line, there's a $700 increase, again, just for additional dues and memberships, nothing exciting there. Conferences and seminars, we did add $2,000. We do have additional people who will be attending conferences and seminars. Certainly not this year, but hopefully in the future. The next line, 55421, employee training and certifications. That's up just $300, again, for engineers to get the trainings and certifications they need to keep their licenses. We needed to increase that a little bit. Postage and delivery is up, 55607 is up $500. Again, historical and purchasing guidelines. And down at the bottom, 61299, miscellaneous supplies, that is up $500, down $500. That's just a required reduction to get us to the 2.5%, but we feel we can live with that. Fuel unleaded is up $400, and that's according to historical and purchasing guidelines. Compressed natural gas is up is down $300, again, historical and purchasing guidelines. And that's all for page 175. Any questions before I go on?
Any questions from anyone on the budget committee?
Okay. And then no questions. Okay. The last page, computer software, we're up about $1,000. Again, that is for iPads and additional CAD licenses for engineers.
Okay.
Furniture and fixtures is down by about $400. And again, just another way to help reduce the budget and get us to the 2.5%. And that concludes administration and engineering.
All right. I see Alderman Wilshire.
Yes.
Thank you, Chairman Dowd. Lisa, Director Photo, where would we find the other $59,000 in electricity for Burke Street? Do you know where else that is in the budget, or maybe that should go to the mayor?
That is in the administrative services budget, I believe, under risk management. Is that correct, Mayor?
That's correct.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Anyone else? Alderman Jette.
Yes, on the line item 51300 overtime, you said that was for paving, but isn't the paving being done by an outside contractor? Why are we spending money on overtime for that?
Okay, so that is for inspection services. So Sunshine, we do have a number of contractors, Brock's, Sunshine Paving, and Newport is also finishing up some work. But we provide, our inspectors and some of our engineers provide oversight for that work. And so the overtime is for that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, any other questions for this department, 160? Seeing none? Okay,
I'm sorry, I have one, Alderman Dowd.
okay, yes, that's Alderman Kelly.
It is. Thank you.
I can't see
I-
you waving because I don't see your picture.
Yeah, that's intentional. Sorry, my hair's messy tonight. I actually had the same question as Alderman Jette, because I know that we approved money last night for Hayner Swanson to do the inspection, so I still didn't quite understand why we still have oversight over pavement if we're paying Hayner Swanson to do it.
Okay, so we're doing 25 this year we'll be doing roughly 25 miles, which is about $10 million on 103 streets. So that is far more than our staff can possibly inspect. So Hayner Swanson also has staff where they assist us with the paving program.
Okay, so we have overtime in our budget for that, but then Hayner Swanson also helps us because we can't do it all on our own.
That's correct.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions before we move on? Seeing none, Department 161, streets.
Okay, so now I am on page 180. And I'm starting with number 54100, which is electricity. We've increased that by 2,124. That is according to historical and purchasing guidelines. Heating and gas, we've reduced by about 320, again, according to historical and purchasing guidelines. Water, we've increased about $1,200 according to, again, historical and purchasing guidelines. Janitorial services, we've increased by 1,000. I'm just going down the line, so I'm not telling you all because I'm going right in a row, okay? It is up by 1,000 because we are the contract is increasing a bit. Now I'm going to go down to 54243 right underneath. We've increased that line by $4,000, and that is primarily because we have an aging boiler that is going to require, that we're limping along, that requires a lot of maintenance. So that's what that increase is for. Building 54280, buildings, grounds, and maintenance. We've increased that by 28,580. The reason we've done that is because we need new garage doors in the street department. So we've limped them along long enough when we need to replace some of them. Okay, the next change is same page, number 55699, other contracted services. We've increased that by $2,000, and that is for traffic signal repair. Moving on to page 181. I'm on line 61166 for gases. We've increased that by about $2,200, and again, historical data.
Excuse me, Director Fauteux, I
Yes.
think some people may not know what gases you're referring to.
These would be gases for welding.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Acetylene, oxygen, that sort of thing. The next line is 61705 on tires. We've increased that by about $480. Again, we anticipate that the cost of tires are going to go up, and also historical information. Lubricants, again, up by 600 for the same reasons. And vehicle parts and supplies, again, we expect an increase in the cost of parts. So we've increased that by $195. And on the last item on this page is computer software, 71228, and that is an increase of $2,000, and that is for our Tactics software. That's a software upgrade that we need. The Tactics software is what controls all of the streetlights and allows us to see them all and coordinate them all. and we need to do a software upgrade for that. So that is what that is for. And that concludes the changes for the street department.
All right, questions regarding street budget? Alderman Jette?
Yes, 54275, signing and striping services. We've only spent $14,000 this year. Why is that?
So that was through January, and most of the striping occurs in the spring. And so you'll see a lot of that, most of that money will be used up this spring.
Okay.
And I don't know exactly how much we've used to date. We were a little slow getting, coming out of the gate because of the COVID-19 pandemic, but I know that we've done a fair amount of striping, and I'm not sure the amount that we've used to date, but we've already used some. So most of this occurs in the spring, that's why.
Okay, and 61300 and 61307, the unleaded fuel and the diesel fuel have, it seems like fuel prices, gasoline and prices have gone way down. Have you taken that into consideration, or was this made up before that happened?
We did take that into consideration, and again, we follow when we're setting our fuel prices, we're going by what the purchasing manager instructs us to do.
Okay, so it's the same as last year, but the
Correct.
prices were much higher last year than they are now. In item 61390, internal and external fuel billings, what is that for?
So we carry all of the fuel for a number of the departments in our public works budget. So that's essentially the fuel that's not public works related being removed.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions regarding the street budget? None? Okay.
Okay, on to Parks and Recreation. We, now I am on page 185, and I'm starting with number 51400. We increased our temporary seasonal wages for our pool guards by 15,040. We were having difficulty attracting summer pool guards, so we increased the pay a bit. So that's what that's for. I'm now on 53999. That is we reduced that to better reflect what we're actually spending. We reduced it by 5,000. That is fire, sprinkler, and extinguisher, fire extinguisher inspections, that sort of thing. Next is 54100, electricity. We reduced that by 3,226. Again, historical guidelines and also purchasing. Heating, gas, same thing. He reduced that by a very small amount, $16. Again, historical data and purchasing guidelines. Water, we reduced by 1,200. Again, historical and purchasing guidelines. Our pool repairs and maintenance, we reduced by 3,000. The reason we did that is that we have all new liners now in our pools, which is great. So there's less maintenance. We don't have to paint them and all of that. So we'll save there. Our tree removal services, we decreased by 1,000, again, according to historical data. Playgrounds and maintenance, we increased that by 6,988. And we have a number of repairs coming up in the parks. So that's why we increased that. Equipment repairs and maintenance, we decreased by 90, again, because of historical information. Vehicle repairs and maintenance, we decreased by $5,000, according to, again, historical information. Equipment rental, we increased by 12,159. Rentals, we decreased by $500, again, according to historical guidelines. 55307, jumping down a little bit. Mileage reimbursements, we did increase that by $1,200. We were not properly accounting for the mileage for the pool coordinators who move around the pools, so we wanted to add it adequately or better reflect that. Banquets and outings, we increased by $1,300. It is the 50th senior outing, so the committee would like to do something a little bit special this year. So that's for that increase. 61107, clothing and uniforms, we decreased that by $2,033 according to historical information. Moving on to page 186, protective clothing, we decreased that by $1,000 according to, again, historical information. Recreational supplies, we decreased that by $1,500 for the same reason. Chemicals, excuse me, not recreational supplies, chemicals, 61156, we reduced by $1,500 for the same reasons. Fuel unleaded, we increased by $1,150, and that is according to our historical information. And tires, we increased, again, because we're expecting an increase in the cost of tires. We increased that by $1,750. Vehicles, parts and supplies, we increased by $9,000. Again, we're expecting an increase in vehicle parts and supplies. And subscriptions, we increased just a little bit because some of the subscriptions have gone up. I'm now on 71025, small tools. We increased that by decreased that by 400, excuse me, according to historical guidelines. And then miscellaneous equipment, we increased by $2,000. Miscellaneous equipment are things like small mowers, weed whackers, and chainsaws. And that concludes Park and Rec.
Okay, questions on Park and Rec?
I have a question, Alderman Dowd.
Alderwoman Kelly, and then Alderman O'Brien.
Thank you. Director Photo, maybe you said it, but I was wondering about the increase on 54821. It's almost double for equipment rentals.
Yes, so that the equipment rental is for park maintenance. I'm not sure exactly the details of that, but I could get that for you.
All right, I'll look forward to that. Thank you.
Okay, Alderman O'Brien, then Alderman Jette.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Fauteux, this would probably be of interest to Alderman Gathright of Ward 9 and particularly myself.
I do know the answer to that.
But basically, I see some of the equipment, and the last park that needs to be rejuvenated seems to be St. Andrews Fields.
Yes.
And I would like just to make sure other neighborhoods have got their rejuvenation, and Ward 9 equally, the good people would like to have that park with some fresh equipment, and little TLC would be nice. Thank you.
That is very next on our list. Absolutely. We are aware of that. And we will be getting to that actually this year. So, and Alderwoman Kelly, I do have an answer for you. I'm sorry. That equipment rental is our porta potty contract, and we put it out to bid, and that was the increase in the bid.
Okay.
So it went up. So that's what 54821 equipment rental is.
Can I ask a follow-up, please?
Sure.
Did we put it out to bid to multiple people or just the current contractor?
No, absolutely. We put it out to multiple people. The current contractor ended up being the low bidder still, but yes, it went up $12,000. It hadn't gone up though in quite a long time. We had used the same vendor, so we weren't surprised that it went up.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Alderman Bryan, were you finished? All set? Okay. Alderman Jette?
Yes, could you speak to us about the arrangement with the Silver Knights and the rental of Holman Stadium? What is the deal with that? And will that be affected if they don't have a season?
Mm. You know, I don't know. I'm not part of the negotiation of that with the Silver Knights. I know right now the Silver Knights are still hoping to have a season. They're just going to try to postpone it. But I don't know what will happen if, in fact, they are not able to have a season. I don't think that has been discussed at this point.
I can maybe shed a little more light on that.
There?
For Alderman Jette. The contract provides that rent will be paid by the game. And under the terms of the lease, if there are no games, I can confirm this with legal, but I'm able to say with some degree of probability that we would not receive rent unless there are games that go forward.
Okay, could I ask, what's the deal? How much do we get per game?
I'm not sure.
I believe it's 1,500, but we can,
I
we
can get that
can-
information for you.
We'll get the answer and have it sent to Donna so it can be distributed to everybody.
now
Okay,
the funds don't go into the general fund. The funds go into there's a Holman Improvement Fund, basically,
Correct.
which is used.
We lost your audio, Jim.
Yeah.
Oh, the funds don't go into the general fund. The rental payments don't go into the general fund. They go into basically a Holman Improvement Fund, which is used to make improvements at Holman, as my title suggests. For example, a few years back, we used money from that fund to buy a new scoreboard, or there are certain times when extra maintenance is required, things like that. So the money does revert to Holman Stadium.
So it's a special revenue fund?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. That doesn't impact the general budget.
Alderman Dowd, if I
Okay.
could ask a question, please.
I have
It's
a
Alderman
follow-up.
Jette,
Got a
then.
follow-up.
so if I could follow up with that. So the Holman Stadium is obviously used by other people other than the Silver Knights. The high schools play there. American Legion plays there. I think probably some other leagues. Do the youth leagues like the high schools and probably and the Babe Ruth and American Legion and those, are they allowed to use those fields without any charge?
Yes.
And do you have any idea how much it costs us to maintain Holman Stadium just for the Silver Knights?
I don't know we've ever broken it down that way, Alderman Jette. I could ask the superintendent, but I don't think we would have that information necessarily specifically to the Silver Knights. I probably could give you an approximate cost per game of what it costs for us to staff that, if you're
Well,
interested.
we certainly could give you an estimate of the overall cost of maintaining Holman Stadium
Yeah.
for a season. Benefits, the Silver Knights, but also the other youth programs that you had mentioned.
Yeah.
There are certain parks workers that work at Holman, and then there are other expenses that are incurred for fertilizer and other things like that, which Nick could probably give us a pretty accurate estimate of how much is spent over the
Yes.
course of the summer.
Yeah, if Nick
Absolutely.
could give us a breakdown on that. The
Sure.
high schools, both high schools play all their games there. That stadium was donated by a man named Holman. And I was just reading an article on it the other day. And a few years ago, well, actually quite a few now, I guess, the field had got in terrible shape and was completely redone when we had a professional ball club come in. And it's one of the best baseball fields in the state. And I know I've talked to several kids that have played there, and they just think it was phenomenal to be able to play on that surface. It's been, and I do know that there's also revenues that come in at the stadium because the towers are used for cell phone. But Nick can break that all down.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the the cost of the electricity, to light the field, not only for the games, but for the practices, just for the Silver Knights. And just, I just want to be reassured that the whatever they're paying per game, is defraying those costs.
I'm not sure we could break it down to that level of detail, Alderman Jettie, in terms of electricity per game. But we certainly can give the overall cost of maintaining Holman Stadium. But I also you should note that we would maintain the stadium to the same level whether the Silver Knights were there or not. We would do the same for the 3 high schools that play there, and Babe Ruth and the others. So it's not, we don't just do that for the Silver Knights.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for Park and Rec? Couple things I wanted to point out. One is the Park Rec stores all their vehicles outside, maybe mowers.
Yes, most everything.
Hopefully someday we can get a lot more lifespan out of them. One question I had, Director Fauteux, is the contract for the DPW workers has been quite a while since it's been settled. And are you budgeting money every year in contingency for the potential pay increase? And if so,
Yes.
where is it?
That would be a question for financial services. That would not show up in our budget. But yes, there definitely is a plan in place for that.
Well, you budget it per fiscal year, and then when the budget is passed, that money is transferred into escrow. So I'm assuming prior years it's in escrow, but how long has it been since the contract's been settled?
It'll be 3 years at the end of June. And we're hoping that, I think I feel like we were close, and then the pandemic hit and sort of stalled everything. So hopefully we'll be able to pick that back up soon. But
Okay.
that is in the hands of Attorney Bolton and Steve Lyons, who's the head of AFSCME. I'm not sure exactly what his title is, but I will tell you that that the leadership in AFSCME has really stepped up during this pandemic, and they've really done a great job getting their jobs done and really showing and really working with us, because there have been some modifications that have had to be made in order to keep them working, and they've been very supportive of that, and we appreciate that.
The other question I have is I've heard some discussion lately from people that used to be involved with Park Rec. Is some concern that we either might not be able to open our swimming pools, and if we do, maybe not right away. And if we do, we're gonna have to practice certain guidelines. Has any discussion been going on that you know?
Yeah. So we have been discussing that. In fact, I had a discussion with Heidi Peak of Environmental Health and Justin Cates from Emergency Management yesterday. It's that's a tough one. The CDC guidelines for opening pools are very difficult. I'm not sure how we would ever meet those guidelines with our public pools, but we have not ruled out opening the pools at this point. But it is currently under discussion but it's going to be it will be very difficult to be able to open our pools this summer.
The other question that came up was summer camps. Some are held within the schools, and at least the Nashua High School South won't be able to be used. And there's questions whether the Board of Ed will allow anyone outside in the schools. So that's something that needs to be looked at.
Yes, with the same thing. We're having discussions about summer camps too. I think some of the summer camps we may be able to have, but the summer camps that are indoors will be very difficult. I think most of the summer camps we have will be summer camps that are outdoors where we can practice social distancing with the kids. So, but that's another thing that we are talking about now. That's another difficult issue because many people use the summer camps for childcare. So if we don't have the summer camps, that's going to be a huge hardship for a lot of Nashua residents. So we are looking really closely at that. And again, having discussions with both public health and emergency management and trying to figure out if there are ways that we can do that safely.
The kids will need a place to release all that pent up energy from being trapped inside. So I hope we can find a way to do it with the social distancing. And I know the kids that are, tend to want to go high five and hug each other and all that stuff. So
Right.
the social distancing will have to be strictly enforced, but should be able to do that. Okay, any other questions on the first?
Can I address that a little further, Mr. Chairman?
Sure, absolutely, Mayor.
As you know, we have a group of task forces working on various aspects of the COVID-19 response. And one of those is, as Lisa has already suggested, looking forward to the camps, the pools. And there are, difficult issues involved, which we've already touched upon. Other cities are having the same dilemma because there was a call yesterday held by the U.S. Conference of Mayors specifically on the pools camps issue. And various cities talked about their thoughts, but no one has any definite plans. It seems that all the cities are thinking like we are, and the questions you've asked, like, can we open these camps? And if so, under what circumstance? And it seems that probably with respect to the camps, the direction will be towards outside activities with stricter than in the past concerns regarding kids grouping together and in order to maintain health. So that is being carefully considered, and we want to try to do the right thing, balancing all, the interests of the kids and the families, and also the interest of keeping people healthy.
Mm-hmm. All set, Mayor?
Yeah.
Alderman Jette?
Yes, I remember that when I was liaison to the Board of Public Works, there was discussion about the cost that the city incurs when there's a repair of a sewer line connection from a residence to the main sewer, and that there was discussion about how the amount that we charge the homeowner or the building owner is oftentimes much less than what it actually cost us. In fact, I think most of those repairs are, we have to subcontract that out to a contractor, and what the city ends up paying is much more than what the resident reimburses us for. And there was talk about looking at those fees and maybe raising them. Where does that stand? That's been pending for a while, I think.
I think jumping into the solid waste discussion, we're going to get there in a minute, but I guess we can just jump there now. Director Fauteux.
Wastewater. So We are still working on that. We had our new city engineer start, of course, at the end of December, and he was with us for a couple of months and then went into remote work. So we are trying to, one of the issues that the Board of Public Works was concerned about was the hardship of that. So my most recent director's report, which was on April 29th, I had stated that we charged the resident $600 and it cost the city $15,000. So you're right, there's a significant discrepancy there. The Board of Public Works was concerned that, what do we do when we tell people that, look, it's your responsibility, how are they gonna pay for that? Because many people don't have $15,000 sitting in a bank account. So we're looking at a number of different things, including insurance that can be purchased. And so that hasn't gone a lot further yet because of that sort of concern. And it's not a huge amount. We probably do about maybe 12 or 14 a year like that. So, we're not talking about an astronomical amount of money, but that's really where the holdup is trying to figure out what to do for those folks that might have a hardship. It would be a challenge for the city to act as a bank. Although we could certainly bill people monthly with their quarterly with their wastewater bills. So there's a number of things that are being considered right now, but that's really why it hasn't gone much further because of the pandemic.
All set,
Okay.
Jenny?
Yeah, thank you. Sorry for jumping the gun. I guess I was hoping we were done, but I guess I
Segue.
forgot.
Good segue. So if we want to jump over to solid waste, we had talked about the revenues. Is John Griffin on the line?
No, I don't think so, Mr. Chairman.
I thought he was going to jump on with us, but we talked about the revenues with John Griffin and David Fredette. And of course, we did talk to these two accounts because they're sort of, to some degree anyways, funding. We do supplement solid waste, but are there any particular items that start with solid waste that you would like to discuss, Director Fauteux, and then we'll ask if anybody has questions.
Well, I would point out that the major increase in this budget really is debt service.
Mhm.
You'll see an increase of about $665,000 and an interest of $81,868. We other than that, I think things are fairly straightforward on the increases, but I'm happy to go through them or happy to answer questions.
Let's see if anybody has any questions on solid waste.
What page is that on?
The debt service. Okay,
261.
all of solid waste. All of solid waste starts on page 261.
So I have people are thinking. I have a question. You have a number of vehicles for purchase under SURF. And I know that you discussed that with the mayor and the board of commissioners before the pandemic, probably. Just out of curiosity, because the question's been coming up, are there any of those vehicles that could be pushed off a year? You don't have to get specific, but.
So I don't have my SURF list in front of me. I didn't think that we were going to discuss that tonight, but we did have that discussion with the mayor, and yes, we did push off some vehicles. Deferred some vehicles, I should say.
Yeah.
And I don't have that. I certainly could get that out to the committee, but I don't have that in front of me this evening.
The question might come up later. I'm not saying we should or shouldn't. It's some things that have been brought up. The other question I have is on recycling. Where are we on recycling, and is it costing us money to recycle, and if so, how much?
Right now, we're at about $95 a ton. We have recycling's been pretty much stable. We take in about 350 tons or so per month. And it's been fairly stable at about $95 a ton, which is good because we were afraid that it was gonna go well above 100.
I think we could add to that. So the amount that the city is paying to dispose of recycled materials is about $400,000 a year. But it would be higher.
You're breaking up, Mayor.
The amount that the city pays is $400,000 approximately per year. It would be higher, but Public Works has made an arrangement with the contractor Casella to accept back from Casella ground glass to use in the buffer area of the landfill, and is realizing, I think, about $16,000 a month doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's about 1,000 tons at $16. We receive $16 a ton for that coming back. So that helps to offset the cost, which has been an innovation within the last year, which we haven't probably publicized as much as we should. We were going to do something about that, and then the pandemic hit, but that was a innovation that was very useful in terms of handling the recycling problem.
Were we looking at using the ground glass in the aggregate for base for roads?
No, we have not done that. That's something that's been around for a long time. I'm not a huge fan of that. I would worry about the compaction and a lot of things. When we're building roads, there's a certain spec of material that should be used. Some communities have used it underneath sidewalks and that sort of thing, but so far we haven't done any of that. And DOT isn't doing a lot of it either. Although I think the state legislature is trying to pass a bill that will require, maybe Alderman Schmidt-Clee can speak to this, but a bill to require DOT to use a certain percentage of glass for road base. But I that really hasn't taken off. It's been around. That's been around for a very long time.
Okay.
We're using it in our setback, and we're using it for cover in the landfill right now. But as the mayor said, it has helped us reduce the cost of recycling.
Okay, another question I have is, are there any of the revenues, whether it be in solid waste or in wastewater, that we could consider increasing without it being a huge burden on people? Particularly if we have fees, and I know there's a balance of fees on outside agencies that do dumping at the landfill.
So our recycling center isn't run as a true recycling center, right? We charge a $5 permit, and folks can bring in almost anything except C&D. So
I was thinking more in the line of trash, not recycling.
No. The going tipping fee for trash is somewhere around 65, and we charge 80. So I don't think there would be any room for us to add any more there.
Okay.
Yeah. The Board of Public Works, though, is looking at increasing the cost for C&D. So that'll be coming soon, I believe, to the Board of Aldermen to ask for that increase, because there will be a change in the ordinance.
And what's our cost for recycling or getting rid of all of the electronics equipment that gets dumped?
We
A
pay,
lot, 125 grand, isn't it?
it's a lot. It's at
Yeah,
least
so we
that.
should be charging for
Probably.
that.
We should be.
Yeah.
We probably should be charging for that. We
So-
pay per pound, Alderman Dowd, and I can't off the top of my head think of the
I think
cost
it's
of that.
$125,000.
Yeah, it's
Get rid of
significant.
the electronic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I've seen days when there's just a phenomenal amount of stuff there,
Yes.
you know? And anyway. Anyone else have any questions regarding solid waste or wastewater? Not seeing any. Any other questions whatsoever for Director Fauteux? All right. Well, thank you very much, Director Fauteux.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Unless it was less painful than could have been.
Yeah. It was very strange not having the superintendents with me. I've never done this before by myself, so.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a
Thanks
part
for
of
going
the
easy on me.
pandemic learning curve.
Right.
Okay. All right. Let me get rid of my budget book. All right. So, do I have a motion, Alderman O'Brien? Gotta be off mute.
There we go. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion to table R20-023 relative to the adoption of fiscal year 2021 proposed budget for the city of Nashua General Enterprise and Special Revenue Funds. And may I have it by roll call?
Yes. Call the roll.
Alderman Clemmons,
Yes.
Alderman Schmidt,
Yes.
Alderman Jette,
Yes.
Alderman Wilshire,
Yes.
Alderman O'Brien votes yea. Alderwoman Kelly,
Yes.
Alderman Dowd,
Yes.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion carries, and R 20-023 is tabled till our next meeting, which is on the 13th, community development. And then, did everyone get a copy of the process and procedure for the public hearing, which is on the 20th of May? I believe Donna put that out to everyone, I hope. Pretty sure she did. So we have the electronic process for doing it. It's very, very similar to the planning board and zoning board. Public will be actually able to call in and ask questions. And we will have all the division directors at a minimum, and anybody else they would like to put on the hat to answer questions of the public. I'm hoping we don't cause a bandwidth problem with 100 people from the city on. And anyway, so our 20-028 should be tabled. I believe we took motion to table that. It was listed in here as not being tabled, but we table that, and the mayor will get back to us when they're ready to discuss it in more detail. So, general discussion. Anyone? No? I guess remarks by Alderman? No? Tomorrow at 3 p.m., by the way, there is a public meeting being chaired by Director Cummings on the possibilities of narrowing Main Street use by the businesses and the restaurants. So anybody's interested. And then next Tuesday is the Board of Aldermen. Oh, and the 11th is Human Affairs. So, okay, we don't need a non-public. We have a motion, Alderman O'Brien.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to make the motion to adjourn by roll call.
Okay, the motion is to adjourn. Would you please call the roll?
Alderman at-large Clemmons,
Yes.
Alderman Schmidt,
Yes.
Alderman Jette,
Yes.
Alderman at-large Wilshire,
Yes.
Alderman Elijah O'Brien votes yea. Alderwoman Kelly,
Yes.
Alderman Dowd.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, 7 yeas, 0 nays.
Okay, the motion passes and we're adjourned at 8 PM. Thank you, everyone.